We all have our own way of coping with stress. Some of us will go for a walk or a run, others do yoga, but if you're solicitor Robert Capes, you'll turn to needlepoint. Well, you can't get much more relaxed than this, I must say. What is it about embroidery that makes you wind down?
I think it's a meditative, contemplative activity, the fact of tactility, the fact that it involves one's hands as well as one's brain. That is very soothing, just the working with the needle and the concentration on developing a design.
So you focus in on that and all your problems disappear?
Yes. Well, I might have a glass of wine or a glass of port, perhaps, which helps occasionally, but you can't afford to be drinking, really, because you've got to concentrate. I don't really think concentration and relaxation need necessarily be different activities. It is, in fact, the concentration that, on something creative that produces the relaxing effect, I think.
Robert took up embroidery on the advice of a friend to help him relax following a family crisis. Now, 15 years later, Robert is engrossed in his hobby. He's written a book called Creative Needlepoint, had many exhibitions, and his cosy retreat in the hills outside Melbourne is filled with his amazing works. This self-taught artist has become a success by leaving traditional needlepoint behind.
So you just make it up as you go?
But yes, I just start out with a basic sketch and colour it in, really.
Whatever colour you want?
Whatever colour I want, whatever stitch I want, depending on the texture that I want. And also trying to bear in mind the perspective, because you see these birds here, well, these two birds here are more or less in the front, aren't they? They're supposed to be jumping up out at you, whereas this cockatoo will have to be back a bit because he's over the top and coming from behind, so I may actually do him in a flatter stitch. I mean, this is really very rough. Most purists would say that it was ridiculously rough. The back, you see, most embroiderers wouldn't ever have a back like that, but I don't worry about those things. I like to think that it's an enjoyable activity that is not tension-producing. So if a mistake is made or if something is rough, it's the spontaneity that's important, I think.
You had a bit of a mishap, I believe.
Oh, well, I've had a number of mishaps. I tend to cure mistakes in various ways. The piece you have in front of you at the moment, I was doing the face of the Pink Lady, and I spilt a cup of coffee on it. So rather than panic, I decided that I'd give her a veil.
A coffee-coloured veil.
Coffee-coloured veil.
His innovative needlework has brought to life the Lewis Carroll classic Alice in Wonderland, his favourite works to date.
The Alice pieces have all taken many months, if not years, to do. The large court scene, which is illustrated in the book there, it took me about 4 years to do. That's, of course, the point of it all, that it is therapeutic, because it isn't something that you can do overnight, and for that very reason it requires a certain meditative approach.
Other great sources of relaxation for Robert are his garden and the opera. It's this environment that has inspired Robert to prove just how versatile this craft can be. If you're feeling inspired to pick up the needle and thread, most adult education centres run needlecraft courses. Or, like Robert, you could teach yourself. Using his book Creative Needlepoint as a guide is another option. Forwarded by Dame Joan Sutherland, a keen needlepointer herself, the book is full of inspirational ideas and techniques for creating your own original designs. It's available at most of the major bookshops for $40.
Now, if you'd like to know anything more about any of the stories on tonight's show, why not give our information line a call, which is 0055 31600. That's 0055 31600. Or write the name of the story you're interested in on the back of an envelope and send it to us at Healthy, Wealthy and Wise, PO Box 180, Nunawading, Victoria 3131. And of course, don't forget to enclose a business-sized stamped self-addressed envelope. Well, next week on the program, Lynn Talbot shows us all how to be sun-smart. Jim Brown visits a Polynesian-style resort in Coffs Harbour, which is winning international acclaim. And Ian Hewitson, well, he's going to meet a world-famous Swiss cheesemaker. Not too many holes in that one, I can tell you. It's all on the program next week. We'll see you then.
Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder star in Edward Scissorhands. Great movie entertainment coming up next on 10. Tomorrow on Wednesday night at 8:30, Shelley Long stars in the gripping mini-series Voices Within. The true story of Trudy Chase, a woman with multiple personalities and her battle to regain control of her life.